Hello and welcome back. It is Monday. I am Mr. Sesotris, and this week I wanted to talk about e-readers. So I love reading and I love e-readers. I do love physical books, but I'm trying to cut back on the number of physical books that I actually have on hand because it just becomes just too much. And so I have been using my e-readers more. I've had them for like decades, but I really enjoy them. But I wanted to talk about the difference between Kindle and Kobo so you can kind of make a decision as to which one is best for you. Years ago when I lived in the US, I got a Nook, and I think it maybe still works. I've had it for like over 10 years, and this is the Barnes & Noble e-reader. It doesn't hold a charge very well anymore. But when I left the US, I wasn't able to continue making purchases through the Barnes & Noble store because I was using a Canadian bank account, and so it didn't connect with it. And so I wanted to get something else. And so I started with a Kobo. And so I've had that and I really love it. It was probably one of my favorites. I also was into indie authors on Kindle Unlimited because I liked their library a little bit more. And so I've been reading on like my phone or on an iPad, and the eye strain for that is just kind of too much. So I eventually caved in and I got an actual Kindle. So having used both e-readers, I wanted to talk about the things that are good about each one and the things that I didn't like as much about either one. So let's get into it. So of the two e-readers, I think Kobo is the better one. This is the one that I've had for years. It lasts a long time. I really like the user interface of this one. It's really easy to navigate. You can purchase books directly from it really easily. And you can as well for the Kindle, but just overall, the ease of navigating everything, I think the Kobo is a little bit better. But the best thing about the Kobo is that you can connect it to Onedrive, which means you can connect it to your library card or your Libby account. So you can check out library books on your e-reader, which is wonderful, and that's what I use it for quite a bit, because you can check out books. There's no subscription, you don't have to pay for it. So it's just once you get the e-reader, you can literally just read for unlimited forever, just checking books out from your library, and that's free. If I do purchase an ebook, I usually do it on the Kobo as well. They pay their authors really well, and it's a way to not support Amazon as much, even though Amazon is sort of a part of our entire universe. I even bought this Kobo via Amazon. That's so terrible. But I do really like the way that they treat their authors, and it has a great library if you need to purchase something. Most of the times if I'm going to purchase an ebook on here, it's going to be something that's like physically uncomfortable to read in a physical form. Like when I got Priory of the Orange Tree, the trade paperback is like this massive brick, and if you're sitting on the bus reading it, which I usually read on the bus, you have to hold it like it's too much. So I got an ebook version of that so that I could read it without any like hand strain. It's much more portable, it's not as heavy, that kind of thing. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I checked that one out through Libby, the audiobook, and I loved it so much I got the ebook for that one on Kobo because the book itself is massive. It's another big, huge, thick one. And it's just easier to read books like that on a small e-reader than having to cart around a big book in my backpack on my way to work. So overall, Kobo is kind of my favorite. Now, it does offer a ebook subscription service, kind of like Kindle Unlimited, called Kobo Plus. And it works really well. It's really affordable. I didn't really have any issues with it. The only thing is that there's a bunch of authors that I personally really like who don't have their books on Kindle or on Kobo Plus. They just have them on Kindle Unlimited. So there are some authors that just default to Amazon because it's sort of a bigger market in the US and in Canada. I think more authors will just go to Kindle Unlimited, which is fine. For some authors, it's sort of the best option. It gives them the chance of the greatest reach. And for indie authors, it's a good idea to kind of reach as many people as possible. So I'm not saying that Kobo Plus is bad. I'm just saying it doesn't have as big of a selection. Now it does have a really big library, so if you wanted to if you don't want to support Amazon at all, there's tons of stuff you can find on Kobo Plus, and there's lots of great books, especially if you're looking for romance, fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of stuff. And so there are a good selection, but there's a certain authors that I really like personally that I couldn't find on here. You can get their audiobooks through Kobo. If you wanted to read the ebook, it's only available on Kindle Unlimited. So that is one thing that I'll say. But other than that, I think the Kobo is a really great e-reader, and the fact that you can connect it to your library card and you can just read books forever for free without subscribing to anything is a big plus. Now, moving on to the Kindle. Now with the Kindle, I only really use this for Kindle Unlimited. I don't really purchase ebooks on here unless it's something that's like a really good book that's on like an outrageous sale for like 99 cents. Then I'll snap it up. But my library on this is mostly just Kindle Unlimited books, because Kindle Unlimited is a really great way to read indie author stuff, and the way that they're paid is by page reads. So it's not like, when you purchase a book, the author gets a portion of that. When you're reading on Kindle Unlimited, they get sort of stats of like how many pages were read, and then they get paid based on page reads. And there's a bunch of really great indie authors and traditionally published authors and all kinds of stuff in Kindle Unlimited. So I don't really use this to purchase anything, but I do use it to read Kindle Unlimited books, because there's a bunch of authors that I can only find here that I couldn't find elsewhere. So it kind of draws you in that way. And I know, one big thing in the bookish community is sort of overconsumption and commercialization of everything. So I'm not saying you have to have a different e-reader for each situation. There's a couple authors that I really like that the only way you can read their stuff is through Kindle Unlimited, and so that's why I broke down and got the Kindle. This is just the base model, the simplest version, and it works great, and I have had no issues with it. Although I do like the Kobo's user interface a little bit better. I don't really want to purchase a lot of books on the Kindle anyways, because my Kobo library is very organized and I have collections set up for everything, and I don't want to mess that up because I have a system. In terms of audiobooks, Kobo does have an audiobook subscription service that's just like Audible, and it's a little bit cheaper too, actually. And so I do have the Kobo audiobook subscription just because they have a really good library and I like supporting the authors, not through Amazon kind of thing. And so I do have that one, but Kindle Unlimited I think is the better ebook subscription, so I have that for the Kindle. My favorite of all of them would definitely have to be the Kobo. I really like it. I think it works really well. It lasts forever. I've had this one for 6 years now, and it's great. It hasn't given me any issues. It still holds a charge perfectly. It lasts forever. And Kobo just came out with a new color version, and it's not like an iPad screen kind of color. It's still like this e-ink thing, but it's a color e-ink screen, which is really cool. And so I think when this one dies eventually, if that ever happens, I think I may upgrade to the color version. So, but if you're looking for kind of my rec for which of the two is better, Kindle Unlimited is a really good service, but Kobo overall is, I think, the better e-reader. And the fact that you can connect it to your library, you don't have to pay for anything. You can literally just use it to just check out library books forever for free, and then use Libby for audiobooks from your library for free. That's a great way to do that without spending any money. And if you don't want to use e-readers, that's fine too. I just do that because I want to cut down on the number of books that I'm actually buying and keeping on my shelves, because it's getting a little insane and I don't want to just have to keep purchasing things forever. So I'm trying to cut back on that. If I can borrow things from the library, that's always better. If I can read a book that I'm like as a part of a subscription that I don't have to like purchase forever, then that's always good too, because it cuts down on clutter. I just want to read books, but I don't want to have to keep buying bookshelves to make room for more and more books, because I am not the beast and I do not have a vast library with which to house all these books. So that's what I'm doing with that. If you don't want to read ebooks at all, that's fine too. You can always go to your local library, check out physical books. Librarians are magical, wonderful people. They can help you find anything, and there's interlibrary loans as well. So if you're in a big city where the collection is split up among many different branches, you can always order a book from another branch and have it shipped to that one, and you just go pick it up. You can also support local bookstores, which is always a good thing. Used bookstores are great, thrift stores. I love the book section at Value Village because they have this deal where if you get 4 books, you get the 5th one for free. And it's dangerous because sometimes I will get lost there and get too many books because they're so cheap. So, you don't have to be like a crazed commercial capitalist monster who just purchases everything brand new forever. You don't have to do that. There's ways around the system. So with that said, I will let you go. I will see you next week. And in the meantime, happy reading. Bye.